Hello again, welcome back. Often when we're out in the field taking landscape photographs, we are unable to capture the entire dynamic range available because of the limitations of our camera. So what we can do is make two exposures. One where we're exposing for the highlights, and then another exposure where we're exposing for the foregrounds. Then later on in Photoshop, we can blend these two images together. And that's what we're going to show you how to do here. This is very similar to the process we were doing when we were taking one camera raw image and processing it for the highlights and saving it, and then duplicating it and processing it again for the shadows, and then blending the images together. The only difference here is we're going to throw a little something in there to help align the image, because we're actually taking two separate images here, one for the shadows and one for the highlights. They may not be exactly properly aligned, and we're going to show you how to do that. So let's open these two up here in Photoshop. So we'll click on Tools, come down to Photoshop, and load files into Photoshop layers. So for my workflow, I like the properly exposed sky on top, and that's what I have here. That's wonderful. We're going to go ahead and do this alignment of these two layers to make sure that the pixels are sitting properly on top of each other, and we won't see a misalignment somewhere. What we want to do first is select both of the layers by control-clicking on them, and come up here to Edit, click on Edit, and run down to Auto Align Layers. Click on it. The default choice of auto is always chosen, and that seems to work out just fine, so I always leave that alone and click OK. It's now aligning, and now the layers are aligned. So I'm going to go ahead and select the top layer, add a layer mask to it. Okay, now I'm going to press B to select my brush. Come up here and make sure I've got the right hardness selected, 0, very feathered edge, I like that. And checking my opacity, excellent, that's what I want. So now I'm going to just go ahead and start painting on that layer mask a shade of gray, and I'll start off just along the edge, kind of to define the edge a little bit. And open up the size of my brush with the right bracket key, the close bracket key, and start painting on that mask. Again, notice we're seeing an effect right in here on the mask. Just run that across a few times here to show you how this works. If you're interested, your exact procedure will be your own. You can zoom in and get in really tight and be really picky and finicky about how you do this. It's your workflow. It's entirely up to you. And that is how we do it. So what we've shown you here in this lesson is that you can take two exposures of the same scene, one exposure getting the highlights recorded properly, the second exposure getting the shadows recorded properly, and then open them up as layers in Photoshop, align the layers, that's important, and then use mask to blend them together. Okay, we'll see you next time.